Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sons, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is March the 29th, 2023, and today the topic is the will of God. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine overall. Unfortunately, I did get some news that one of my cousins have gone to be with the Lord. Her name was Rosie McMichael. I looked up yesterday how old she would have been this year when her birthday came, but unfortunately, I don't remember that in this very moment, and I don't want to misquote or say it wrong. So, but she was in her 60s, if I'm not mistaken. But anywho, yeah, it was kind of hit me in my heart when I saw that yesterday. My mom was there when she passed, in her home, seemingly to be in a peaceful way. So, at the end of the day, I guess I say that's all you can ask for. But I mean, in the plethora of ways that, people approach the end of their life, I think passing away at peace is probably desired by all. Like, I don't think anybody wants to pass away in a horrific way, even though that does happen. But so I was at peace to know that she was at peace, and everything like that. And so obviously that's on my heart and mind this morning, and everything like that. But I mean, hey, here I am to give the juice, right? To give some daily inspiration. And so let me share with you guys how I got to this concept about the will of God, how I got to this conversation today. So I woke up at the sound of my alarm this morning, 4:00, and did my little routine to make sure I got up and everything like that. I listened to the prayer meditation and it was good. It was I don't remember at the moment everything that it took me through, but it had me to kind of just be in the moment, right? To not worry or hurry, just be present and whatnot. So that's what the prayer meditation was kind of centered around this morning as I listened to it. And then ultimately, I started to study. And I looked up a variety of things, y'all. I mean, and who knows, maybe I'm going to talk about these things another time or whatever. But yeah, I looked into a variety of things, from the unseen realm to demons to this concept of aliens and all these things I looked up this morning. So who knows what this juice could have been. But ultimately I was reminded of this. I think it was like a post I had saw. I don't know. I don't think it was yesterday, but whenever I saw it, sometime this week, this guy was sharing about that, that basically we need to be, not just believing Christ in words only. Like, we should also, our life should reflect what we believe. And people were going back and forth in his comments about the things he said in regards to, oh, you're trying to say something about work, salvation, or whatnot. And I guess I started to ask the question, like, is it possible to have faith without quote unquote works? And I hate to put it just in works category, but like, I guess, or without change, or without, I don't know, you guys can fill in the blank or whatever you can think there, but that's pretty much what ultimately had me to kind of do a deeper dive. I ended up going to gotquestions.org, and there I was looking up a lot of different random questions, and just to see what it had to be, was said a little bit deeper at least. And I guess the thing is, like, I mean, I think I already knew in my heart and mind, at least, um, obviously what the Bible has to say about faith and works. And ultimately, the best way that I can explain it in this moment, y'all, is that at the end of the day, you do the work because of your faith. Like, works are a result of your faith. So this idea ultimately had me thinking about, doing the will of God. And then at some point I started to ask, well, what is the will of God? Because and then once I started to look up those verses and surround that, that's when I guess the Lord had confirmed in my heart and mind the conversation for today. And so here I am to talk about the will of God. So here are some verses that stood out to me this morning. I hope that they encourage and inspire you. So 1 John 2:17, it says, and the world is passing along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God abides forever. This again obviously stands out to me this morning. I know I already told you all the news about my cousin and everything like that. Like I said, I am at peace because I do believe that she is a believer, and that she's with the Lord and everything like that. And I rebuked any other idea that tried to come in my mind this morning and whatnot. Obviously everybody's salvation is an individual thing, right? So far be it from me to judge anybody or whatever the case is. I'm just saying that, I guess these are the things that bring us peace as believers, believing that, again, when we leave here, then we are with the Lord and things of that nature, like the Bible tells us and things. So, but aside from that, right, aside from us leaving this world and things like that, this verse is saying the world is passing away along with its desires. So I don't know what y'all think of that. I don't know what any of us think of that idea that the world as we know it is passing away. As well as, like, I guess all the things that we hold dear, all the things that we feel is important. Actually, this is reminding me, I know I shared this verse recently. And once again, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's reminding me of the sermon that I heard a few weeks ago that the gentleman was talking about marriage, but he took it to a whole nother level when he talked about, like, the marriage of Christ and the church and everything like that. And basically, I guess, again, reiterating or that explanation that he gave that day, showing this big boulder being cast into the sea. And yes, it made an impact, but ultimately the sea went back calm and whatnot. And I guess that, again, that is an example of what it's like in this life, right? We have all these big issues, these big things that we hold on to that we deem to be important. We worry about finances. We worry about, whatever it is that we put before the Lord. And when ultimately at the end of the day, the Bible tells us that our life is like a vapor, the Bible is telling us that, again, the desires of this world is passing away. And so, yeah, but I mean, so obviously that stood out to me a lot reading this morning. But when I finish up that verse here, again, it says, but whoever does the will of God abides forever. I mean, I guess I would be asking myself today, am I doing the will of God? I know I told you all, when I felt those convicting words back in the day, back in during the cultivation period and all those different things. And the Lord, I feel like he showed me that, okay, Miracle, only the things you do for me is going to last. That changed, everything that I was going for, that changed, my whole, not to say purpose in life or whatever, but that actually, I guess, pushed me more into, again, God's will and what his purpose was for me. I started to seek that more in my life. And here I am, every day that I'm here, since April 1st, 2020, I've been blessed to share what the Lord is sharing with me as daily inspiration. And who knows, right? What else will come, or who knows what was missed from all the time, or and the lost time that I wasted, in some ways, I would say, over the years. But we don't know, right? I know I saw one of my cousins nieces, so the cousin that passed, one of her nieces was talking about that we don't know the day or the hour and everything like that. And obviously everybody's asking the question why. My cousin definitely was a sweet lady and everything like that. And so again, it doesn't feel right or fair when these type of things happen. And even though we know it's inevitable, right? We know that we all must, as they say, die one day, or if not, then we'll be caught up to be with the Lord, if we are one of those people. But I don't know, y'all. I mean, I guess I'm just sharing again the things that are on my heart and mind this morning. And like I said, I hope that it's encouraging and inspiring. I guess ultimately the reason why I share these thoughts that I just shared is that at the end of the day, it just seems like it's more beneficial to focus and do the will of God versus to continue to go our own way and again lose time and stuff like that. Thanks be to the Lord, right, that I am here today, and I was given another chance to do the will of God, because again, I could have been taken out in my sins, I could have been taken out years ago, whatever, when my heart and mind was not focused on doing the will of God, like when I was procrastinating and all those different things. But it's truly a blessing to have another day and everything like that. And yes, I do believe that my life will go on, right, as they say, and everything like that. But in regards to my purpose and whatnot of what I'm supposed to do here, this is the time to do those things today, right now, and everything like that. Because tomorrow is not promised, and I mean, the Bible tells us that in a variety of ways. But anywho, let's keep going, y'all, because we got quite a bit to share. Ephesians 6:6, it says, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but as bond servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. See, I think that's where the issue comes in. That question that I was asking earlier in regards to the people going back and forth about, oh, you trying to say works, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we are all saved by grace. And yes, we didn't have to do nothing to receive that gift. But ultimately, if you believe, right, that you're saved by grace, then there's going to be some fruit that comes from your life from here on out, and that's the thing, again, if you truly believe in your heart, right, that, what, I have been given grace and mercy. The Lord has changed my life. The Lord has done a work in me. The Lord has made a way for me, all these different things. Then you're going to want to do the will of God, whatever that may look like in your life. Even if it's a small thing to you, it could be a huge thing that impacts the next person or the next community or whatever the case is. And so, it says here, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but as bond servants to Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. This morning, I looked up the word bond servant because that stood out to me this morning. And that definition says a person bound in service without wages. I think all of us, well, I don't know if all of us, but maybe majority of us may be familiar with this type of thing. I mean, has anyone ever volunteered in their life? You're not getting paid to volunteer, but there's a sense of fulfillment there to serve others in whatever capacity it is. I'm reminded right now, back when I was living in Florida, and there's a place called Give Kids the World, and they have this nice little cute village, and they bring terminally ill children and their families to experience the different theme parks that are in Orlando, as well as just have a time and place of just, I guess, solitude or peace, or not having to worry about the ailments and all these different type of things. I know they do things like having ice cream for breakfast, or they can call the little pizza shop in the village and just get pizza delivered to them for free. They have these little events and things like that. And I would go there to volunteer, right, every now and then. And it just, it brought me joy to be able to do that. It got me out of my home and whatever my rut was at the time. It was a joy to just go and be amongst those people and give them some light and joy and whatnot for free, and it honestly, it did make me wonder, like, what would this world look like without currency? What if we all could just call up the pizza shop and get a pizza? What if we all could just, live the way that village ran? You do your work when it's your time to do your work, and then you do your, and you live in peace in those times when it's, time to do that. And then you don't have to worry about, buying or anything like that. Everything's available to everybody, things of that nature. It seems like a very foreign concept. I know that I really don't know what that would look like in regular civilization. I mean, it worked well there. I mean, obviously, but they do need volunteers, right? So at some point you would need to be volunteering and whatnot. But I mean, if there was a way that could be done across the board worldwide, like, that would be an amazing concept. But who knows? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, can we be a bondservant today for Christ? That's something you guys can ask yourselves. Let's keep going. 1 Thessalonians 4:3, it says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification, in that you abstain from sexual immorality." So after I wrote down those first couple of verses that I just read to you all, that's when I asked the question, what is the will of God? And so when I looked that up at openbible.info, I said, what is the will of God? This was one of the verses that stood out to me. Now, of course, y'all know that this platform is called God, Sex, and Love, right? So again, I don't have no issues with talking about sex and all of that nature. I did not go deeper in regards to looking up, all the specifics of what sexual immorality is. I'm sure people can ask all those questions. Well, does this count? Does that count? Are we trying to find those loopholes, right? And so you might need to go deeper if that's something you need to do, to ask the Lord and seek Him about what is sexual immorality, right? But if I just focus on the verse itself, it's saying, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification." So yes, in this particular verse, it's saying that you abstain from sexual immorality, but I believe, overall, our sanctification in general is the will of God. Now, obviously, we know that Jesus paid it all, and that was another thing that ultimately led me to started looking up this, because this was another random thing I studied this morning. But at some point, the lyrics of "Jesus paid it all" came into my heart and mind this morning, and as that was kind of flowing through my heart and mind, I looked up the lyrics, and then ultimately I saw the name of the author of the song and whatnot, and then I looked up that name, and that name, the entire name meant warrior little saint or something like that. And I looked up that at openbible.info as well. I don't remember the last name at the moment, but the first name was Alex. So apparently Alex means warrior. And then the last name of that individual means little saint and everything like that. So I thought that was interesting as well. But anywho, yeah, like I don't know, I'm just sharing more things, y'all, more things I studied and what, that I came across this morning. But yeah, ultimately, again, our sanctification is the will of God. Here's another verse that tells us what the will of God is. It's 1 Thessalonians 5:18. It says, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So again, being able to give thanks in all circumstances. Y'all, I shared my testimony about the past couple of weeks, from being upset to God, turning things around in such a beautiful way that can only be explained by Him. That's was my way of giving thanks through all of the circumstances, even when I was upset and when things became, when I was at peace. Even now in this situation as well, I'm giving thanks for my cousin and her life, giving thanks for the many wonderful cakes that she made. I would start every year with a red velvet cake at some point in my life when I was younger. She would send, I guess, a red velvet cake over to the house, and my mom would buy it, however it would go. She made the best red velvet cakes, y'all. At least the ones that I grew up on. And so, but anywho, but I'm still giving thanks for her and her life, and everything like that, even in the midst of, obviously, the sorrow of her loss, right? The sorrow of her no longer being here with us, right? But again, believing that she's with the Lord and everything like that, I can give thanks. So, hey, maybe we need to start practicing this. What does this look like to you? Can you give thanks in all circumstances of your life? I know it can be difficult to do so. Again, when you're angry, you might not be thinking about giving thanks. When you're sad, you might not be thinking about giving thanks. But if you're going to be a believer, again, we should start to practice these things. And then I believe that it'll get a little easier along the way. That's at least what I find in my life. So, yeah, giving thanks in all circumstances is the will of God, according to the Bible. 1 Peter 3:17, it says, for it is better to suffer for doing good, if that should be God's will, than for doing evil. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much reminded me of what I was saying earlier. Like, at the end of the day, not say you're going to suffer, but I mean, yeah, there is going to be suffering in life, right? And if you're suffering for doing the will of God, I mean, that it says here clearly that that is the better of the two, than to ultimately suffer for doing evil. So let's keep that in our hearts and minds this morning, y'all. 1 Peter 2:15, it says, for this is the will of God, that by doing good, you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Ooh. I don't know if this is Pope today or not. Again, maybe it depends on where you are in your life, right? But again, this is telling us this is the will of God. Doing good is the will of God. And by doing good, you put to silence, excuse me, the ignorance of foolish people. And so, listen, I guess this alongside of all the rest of them, I'm sure if you guys keep going, you guys will clearly see what the will of God is once you get into the word and look it up. It says plainly, this is the will of God. This is the will of God. This is not the will of God, whatever the case is. And so if you need to do that deep dive, I implore you to go ahead and take time to go deeper and do those things and check it out to see what the will of God is. I have one more verse that I felt led to share this morning. It's Matthew 7:21. It says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Friends, I guess that's the juice today. At the end of the day, no, it's not your works that gets you in, right? But yes, you got to have some fruit from saying that you're a believer. Like, there has to be some type of change in your life happening. There has to be some type of fruit from some type of work, some type of something that shows that at the end of the day, I say this thing, and in my heart, I believe this thing. Therefore, I do the work that the Lord is asking me to do. I do God's will. And that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is Matthew 20:28. It says, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life as a ransom for many. Friends, I hope y'all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow with the Lord's will. Bye-bye. There you go. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice, I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Oh, you know what? It's my husband tuning in to me this morning. Good morning, husband. I love you too. Now that's my husband right there, y'all. Mr. Saves. Yeah, y'all. I mean, God be Lord for all things. I guess I will see, how things go when it comes to the rest of this week and whatnot. I know for today, I am supposed to go and do an event with Madam Miraculous. And then after that, I'm supposed to go to the church and do the child care. So that's pretty much the main thing that my day is going to entail. I need to record something else. So I might do that now. But yeah, so that's one thing as well. But yeah, that's all for my day today. If the Lord's will, of course, if the Lord's will, that is my general plan for today. But I guess I'll let y'all know how it goes tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and yes, I look forward to talking to y'all. You know what, husband? Okay. You make me feel all warm inside. Thank you for tuning in, hubby. Like he's not in the other room. But anywho, y'all, thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing, sharing, all those wonderful things. Ooh, Sissy's here. Let me call him out, y'all. Listen, if y'all want to actually see this guy on the channel, help me get to 1,000 subscribers, okay? Look, check this out, husband, if this is still you. This is the image to hopefully encourage and inspire the people to help me get to 1,000 subscribers, y'all, and y'all can see the invisible man. All right, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go for real this time. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow. Bye.